Most parents find ways to inspire hope in their children. The promise of success through discipline, hard work, and faith is a promise most Barbadian parents make to their children. When placed against a backdrop of poverty, that promise becomes much more challenging to fulfill, as there must be a willingness to endure failure and defeat as precursors to success. This is the picture Grace consciously or unconsciously painted for her son, Ronnie.
There are 3 children, Ronnie, Romel, and Tyrone. Ronnie is the first son. Ronnie was always a child, like a go-get a person. He always liked to be out front and doing things and trying to achieve from early. Like 3 years and a half, he could have read a Lady Bird book. At the house in Boscobel, there were no running water, no electricity, and we had a pit toilet on the outside, and we used to bring water from the school pipe to fulfill our needs, to get water on mornings and to bathe at nights and such like.
I don't think there was any shame in that life, because in some ways when you're living it, you don't recognize that it means anything, or it's just your life. You're not like, oh I'm really poor and those folks over there are really rich, so something's wrong with me. No, it's just the experience and the things that you live through.
I can remember when they were living in the old house in Boscobel, which to me, the house was old, but it was comfort. When you go in the house, you find a lot of love. It had no, as I said, no running water, no electricity, but it was always love in there.
Well, as a mother, I still had my sister, which we called Mom. Mom was always there for us. She was the working one, and she was always there for us. She made sure, don't care how little they have to eat. Don't care what happens, Ronnie and the other brother had to survive. So there was always Mom. That is my sister, that we call Mom.
Mom she always used to work hard. She was a laborer in the field.
And she was always with us, and she always said, you got to work. She was never late for work. I don't even know if Mom ever had a sick day from work. Always early for work. So a lot of value tools come through Auntie, we call her Mom, come Mom, all these values, and a lot of it passed on to Ronnie, on to me, and on to Ronnie, right? So that's how we get this work ethics, and you gotta work for what you want. Because we were poor, we had no running water, we had no light, so we had to work. Everybody can come up with property, but it's up to you if you want to stay in it or you want to come out. Up to you. You got a choice. The parents got a choice to teach their children the right way, to work hard, to make themselves into something, and they have a choice how to do it. It's up to you to stay in it or to get out of it. And all of us have choices in life. I decide I am not staying in it. I'm getting out of it.
We were living in Boscobel at that time, and I remember probably about maybe 5, I was probably 5 or 6, I think around there. And my aunt was afraid to move from basically a house that was falling apart, and no running water, no electricity, nothing. My mother had found this place to rent in Spikestown, and my mother was like, we're all leaving. And my aunt was like, no, I want to hold on here. My mother's like, no, what are you holding on to? We are leaving. And it was so interesting, up to the point of almost the moment we were about to leave, my aunt still was trying to hold on. My mother's like, we're going. Because for her, it was always trying to do better by herself and by us. And we moved to Spikestown, and we moved into our new place. And this determination, it's always been there.
I got a job as a security guard, government security guard. And when I got the job, the first paycheck, I said, this is it. I saw this house in Spikestown that I could have, in Boves Road, that we could have rented. And I just went home and told my mom we are moving. She said, moving where? I said, we are moving. I went to Lake. She said, okay, Grace, you can have the house. And I decided to get a truck, pack her everything, tell her, I call her at work and tell her, when you come home, don't come to Boscobel, come to Buzz Road and Spice. Now how? Because we moved there. And when we get in the house, Ronnie bed, Ronnie had to come back. And Ronnie take long bed on the shower, singing and bed on the shower. And every minute was flushing the toilet.
I can still feel the water and hear the water. And it to me, it was the most fascinating thing or invention ever in the entire world. Like, you turn on this thing and there's water in your house. You didn't have to bring it. And it was just fascinating. I even think now I'm still fascinated at there's nothing like a warm shower or nice shower. It beats all things. It's such a simple pleasure, but it's such a marvelous thing. And I know it may sound weird to some people but for me, not having one and then going to have one, and this is years and years. I'm an adult now with my own child and family, but that memory, that concept, it is still so vivid and so powerful. I think for me, primary school was instrumental and a very, very, very developmental period. It kind of gave me all the groundings that I needed, but really, I think I became myself. Alexandra School, I think I owe everything to this place. I've said that 1,000 times, and I would say it another 1,000 times until the end of my days, because I don't think I could have been the person that I am without Alexandra School, without the teachers and the support that I got here, and obviously my mother. There's that unique combination.
You have to work hard. If you want to achieve anything in life, you have to work towards it. If you don't work towards it, you will never get there. So I taught him, work towards what you want. It's all about you.
When I told her I was going to be head boy, I think for her it was just like, fine, that's what you're going to do. Just do it. I mean, it's there's no barriers. We never saw barriers. We were never trained to see things in our way. And even if things were in your way, they're just challenges. They're just things to overcome in what you're trying to be.
Well, when he said he wanted to be a head boy, I know Ronnie would be a head boy. Because you could see he had it in him to be a head boy, to lead. He was always a leader. He likes to lead. He's not taking second place. He likes to lead, and he's going to lead the right way.
The experience of being head boy was defining in my life. That's kind of one of those marker moments, because I'd achieved something that I in my head I'd set a goal to achieve. And not only that, I was able to recognize and find my leadership skills. I was able to find my voice, my debating skills, my oratorical skills, my ability to function under pressure and all those things and represent my school.
He was a peer counselor, counseling children and such like at the school. So when you could lead children and you as a child yourself, that means that you would make it and achieve what you want to achieve. But you have to work for it. You have to work hard.
I was head boy, I was doing all these things, winning competitions, debate captain, all sorts of stuff. And I did my CXCs and I didn't get the grades that I wanted or the grades that were projected. I remember it was crushing because here you had someone who was supposed to be in excellence and the idea is that you're excellence in everything. And sometimes things happen. And it was crushing. And for my mother's part, she was like, yeah, you're going back to school. You're going to go back and you're going to finish and you're going to do the things that you should do.
Well, when I heard when he came home, he told me we only passed 3. And I thought the boy was going to lay there and dead or something. Because he went into this depressed state. And I said, listen, you don't got depressed state. Get up and go again. You will simply go back to school and you will do the others. You are not alone. You ain't alone. Well, other children want the same thing, but you can't lay there and play dead. You get up and you go, get up and go, pull yourself together. So he went back to school, and then next year he did the other subjects, and he got through.
My mother was there to pick me up and say, you know what, this is nothing. Everything's for a reason. And she was right. Because years later, I recognized that the course that I was on, the subjects I was doing, that's not me. That was never me.
For me, Ronnie's biggest achievement, so he's smiling, was when Ronnie called and said he got his PhD. His PhD. That was it for me. That was it. That was it.
I think when you don't get the CHCs or whatever you want, you may feel you're not good at something. That's not true. You are good at things. It's a matter to find what you're good at. And I was lucky enough on my return to find the things that I was good at, which later allowed me to go to community college, to do economics, to do politics, to do sociology, to go on to UE, to do politics, sociology, then to later go on to do law. My PhD, qualified in practice as a lawyer in the UK, and on all this on scholarships.
You have to have faith and prayer to the Lord Almighty that we could get scholarships. I always tell her, right, and get some scholarships, right. Look for scholarships. You never know what will happen. You don't achieve if you don't try. Right? Don't sit back and say, man, I get this, do one. Try, have faith. Faith can move mountains. And it did.
I had 2 scholarships to do my master's. And then I was able to save one, so I was a Chevening Scholar and I was a National Development Scholar. And then I took the National Development Scholarship to start the first year of my PhD. At that point, I didn't know how I was going to finish, but in my house, in my mom's view, when you start, once God opens the door, there'll be a way, you'll find a way to finish this. He doesn't open a door to close it on you.
I can remember one time I walk in the bank and I tell the person in the bank, I need some money. Right, so the bank manager, the person, how you could just what I said, I need some money. The woman went up to the bank manager looked at me, and I look at Patty. Simple. You want the money for to send for my son? Or if I don't get the money sent for you, we gotta come back to Barbados. What? So. I said, okay, go and give her the money.
I started my PhD with 1 year funded. No clue how I was going to fund the rest of it, but it worked out. Got scholarships, worked part-time in bars and cafes, pouring drinks, making sandwiches. It was an experience. it was an experience.
The family look out and help a lot, and his stepfather did a lot. Did a real lot for him to help ease the pressure. Sometimes you call, well, he need money, and you gotta go and find this money, because you can't get some back to Barbados, and they really look out and help a lot. They look out, everybody look out for Ronnie. They love Ronnie, believe me, they love him.
To see Ronnie as 8, 9 years old growing up, I didn't see the age. I see a young gentleman striving for excellence in life and achieving a goal that I saw with him, because I always knew he would be a politician. And I would make point tell him, when you become the prime minister, I'm going to wear the biggest hat, and I'm going to wear a chiffon dress, little baby doll heels. I'm going to step proudly with you, and I'm going to live to see that day.
I have a very good, excellent relationship with Ronnie. Very excellent.
Ronnie, Mom Grace always had a good impact on his life. She would teach him about the morals of life, but most of all, she always put God first in Ronnie's life.
That drive and that determination to, once you fix and you focus on something, to just do it. I see that a lot in her, and I know that's also in me. And also to never give up or give in. And that's an important quality that's being passed down.
Hard work, discipline, faith, and a willingness to endure failure are doors out of the challenges posed by poverty. That is the promise Grace gave to Ronnie and her other 2 sons. Ronnie received a doctorate at age 29. He has degrees and training in law, politics, sociology, economics, and education. He is supported by a beautiful wife and an adoring son. His education and family life are buttressed by a party and a country that have been very welcoming and supportive of his willingness to serve Barbados. This is evidence that Grace's promise to Ronnie has been fulfilled.